Hi, Taurus soul. Have you ever felt like miracles only happen to others? Until the universe starts whispering directly to you? If you found your way to this video, let me tell you something important right from the start. This is not a coincidence. This is a divine signal, and it's speaking only to those who are ready to hear it. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where each soul is honored, each journey is seen, and every whisper from the universe is received with deep awareness. This is not just a horoscope, it's a sacred space for awakening. A space where your strength is not only acknowledged but celebrated. This deep energy reading for Taurus is here to guide you through something profound, something cosmic, transformative, and deeply personal. Not just what's coming, but why you were chosen to receive it. Think about this. Have you felt a subtle shift around you lately? A gentle nudge in your spirit? Maybe you've been sensing that something just beneath the surface is about to reveal itself. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in that quiet, soul-level knowing that only someone as intuitively grounded as you can recognize. That's the vibration we're tuning into today. Taurus, you didn't arrive here by accident. Out of millions of voices, algorithms, and distractions, you found this moment, and that means something. It means your soul is in alignment with something greater. It means the timing is sacred. You are being seen, heard, and invited to remember what your heart has always known. You were never forgotten by the universe. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk together through the unique energy flowing to you between April 8th and 10th. These are not ordinary days. There is a portal, subtle yet powerful, opening up for you. One that can only be accessed through presence, inner stillness, and self-trust. You're not just here to receive a message, you're here to remember your essence, your strength, and your divine right to peace, abundance, and fulfillment. But before we go deeper, I want to ask you something personal. Comment below with a number that's been following you lately, maybe 111, 444, 777, or any angel number that makes you feel connected. Maybe it's a word, a phrase, a song that keeps playing in your head. Whatever it is, it's not random. It's the universe answering your silent prayers, your hidden hopes, and your sacred longing for clarity. When you comment, you're not just showing up for yourself. You might be the light someone else needs to see today. And let me take a moment to say from the deepest part of my heart, thank you for being here. Every like, every comment, every share, and every beautiful soul who chooses to subscribe brings us closer together as a family within eternal mindfulness. Your energy uplifts this space, and your presence allows us to keep bringing these transformative messages to life. You are the reason this exists, and I see you. I honor you. I believe in you. And trust me, beloved Taurus, you will want to stay with me until the very end today, because what the universe is preparing to reveal is nothing short of extraordinary. So now, let me ask you, what moment, what inner voice, what invisible thread guided you here today? Was it a dream? A repeated sign? Or just a quiet whisper in your chest? Whatever it was, hold on to it, because it's the thread we'll follow together, through this reading, into a chapter of your life that is waiting to unfold in light, in truth, and in divine timing. There's a quiet shift in the atmosphere, can you feel it? Not loud or overwhelming, but subtle and steady, like the changing of a season that begins with a single breeze. These days between April 8th and 10th hold a kind of sacred stillness for you, Taurus. It's not about rushing toward anything or proving yourself. It's about sensing what's already arriving, just beneath the surface, beyond the noise. The universe isn't demanding action, it's inviting awareness. This moment is not asking you to be more than you are. It's asking you to remember what you've always been. When Venus, your ruling planet, forms a graceful alignment with Saturn, something beautiful happens. Venus speaks to the heart, love, pleasure, comfort, and values. Saturn brings form, responsibility, and structure. Together, they create a moment where you are gently asked to evaluate your foundation. Not to criticize it, but to observe it with clarity and compassion. Are the values you hold still nourishing you, or have some become outdated stories you've carried out of habit? Are your boundaries supporting your growth, or have they quietly become walls? It's okay if these questions feel uncomfortable. True insight often arrives in silence, and silence can be intimidating. But this is the beauty of this cosmic moment. You don't need to fix anything. You're simply being shown the inner architecture of your own life, so that if you choose to shift, you can do it from a place of self-knowing rather than fear. The Wheel of Fortune appearing in your tarot energy at this time is not an accident. This card marks a turn, a shift in rhythm, a karmic nudge. Not everything that's coming can be anticipated, and that's part of the magic. But what can be felt is the readiness. You have arrived at a threshold, not because of luck, but because of your deep inner preparation. The wheel doesn't turn randomly. It turns when the soul has learned what it needed to learn and is ready to move forward with greater wisdom. In many wisdom traditions, change is not a disruption, it's a return. A return to alignment, to truth, to the natural flow of things. Just like the river doesn't resist its own current, you're being called to stop resisting the soft pull of your own intuition. When the signs come, through repeated numbers, sudden clarity, or the way someone's words echo exactly what you've been thinking, those are not coincidences. They're quiet confirmations. The universe doesn't speak in volume. It speaks in patterns, in feelings, in echoes that land in the heart before the mind can catch up. Seeing angel number 88 during this time is especially significant. This number carries the frequency of abundance, yes, but not just materially. It's the abundance of insight, of timing, of inner maturity. It reminds you that what you've poured your energy into is now cycling back. And if you felt delayed, held back, or paused, 88 gently whispers that the reason you've been waiting is because what's coming has been growing roots. Now it's ready to bloom, and so are you. This part of the journey isn't about pushing. It's about perceiving. It's about choosing to soften your inner grip and simply listen, not with the ears, but with the heart. Trust what is subtle. Trust what feels familiar in an unfamiliar way. And most of all, trust that you didn't find this message by accident. You are not being tested. You are being guided. And the guidance is clear, it's already happening. Just breathe, trust, and receive. Sometimes, it's not the storms that shape us most, but the quiet moments when we choose to keep walking, even when everything inside us is asking to stop. Taurus, your journey has been anything but easy. But strength isn't always loud, it doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it breathes in silence, wrapped in patience, held together by invisible threads of love and quiet resilience. You've been carrying more than anyone can see, and yet, somehow, you still find the space to smile, to give, to believe. That's not weakness. That's power in its most sacred form. It's easy to overlook this strength when we're living inside it. When the days blur into each other, when the emotional weight feels normal, when showing up for others becomes second nature, you forget to notice how incredible you really are. But take a moment now. Breathe. Look back. Not with judgment, but with awareness. You'll see 1,000 tiny acts of bravery. The times you forgave without receiving an apology. The times you stayed soft when life was trying to harden you. The times you held space for others even when no one was holding space for you. That's not just survival. That's a profound expression of your inner mastery. In the natural world, the strongest trees aren't the ones that stand tallest, they're the ones that bend with the wind, rooted deeply in the unseen. You, Taurus, have that kind of strength. Grounded, unshakable, and quietly enduring. And while others may not always notice the depth of what you carry, the universe does. It doesn't measure your worth by your victories, it recognizes your sacred persistence. Every time you rose after being broken, you sent out a silent vibration of growth. Every time you loved without return, you planted seeds in places you couldn't yet see. And now, those seeds are ready to bloom. There's a quiet truth often overlooked. We do not become worthy because of our achievements. We were always worthy. The trials, the waiting, the silent hopes, they were never tests of value. They were mirrors, showing you how deep your light truly runs. In ancient wisdom, it is said that the lotus blooms not in the absence of mud, but because of it. That the beauty of a being is not found in how untouched they are, but in how gracefully they return to their center after being pulled away. You, Taurus, are returning to that center now. And in doing so, you become a lighthouse for others, even if you never meant to be. The energy you've given out, those unnoticed moments of compassion, the calm you brought into chaos, the love you offered without expectation, they haven't been lost. Think of them as echoes moving through the universe, stored like light waiting to return to you. This is where the law of attraction begins to reflect differently. Not as a reward for being good, but as a natural return of what you've been radiating all along. It's not a transaction. It's a recognition. So if today you're still healing, still walking, still trying, stand in front of your mirror and speak this truth: I didn't give up. And that alone makes me worthy of what's coming. Not because you've earned it in the way the world measures success, but because your soul has remained open through it all. That openness, that tenderness in the face of pain, that is your greatest gift. And it's exactly why something beautiful is finally on its way to you. Letting go rarely feels graceful at first. It can arrive with resistance, hesitation, or even quiet grief, not because we're weak, but because part of us has identified with the very thing we're being asked to release. Taurus, for someone like you, who treasures stability, who builds carefully and attaches deeply, releasing anything can feel like a small kind of death. And yet, every ending you allow becomes the fertile soil for something greater to grow. What you're being asked to let go of now isn't just a person or a dream. It's a version of yourself that no longer fits the truth you've come to understand. The energy of the Eight of Cups invites you to walk away not in sorrow, but in quiet acceptance. This card doesn't speak of drama or loss, it speaks of clarity. A sacred clarity that whispers, "You've outgrown this." And what's powerful is that this moment isn't asking you to burn bridges. It's asking you to cross one. And on the other side is a deeper part of you, waiting to be remembered. There's an ancient teaching that says freedom isn't found in gaining more, but in needing less. When we release the weight of outdated expectations, of identities we've clung to out of habit or fear, we begin to walk lighter, not just in body, but in mind. You don't have to let go all at once. Sometimes release happens in layers, like peeling away soft petals, one by one. But even a small act of conscious release can open the door to profound inner space. That's why rituals, gentle, intentional moments, matter. Writing down what no longer aligns with you, folding it with awareness, and placing it under the quiet glow of a candle becomes more than symbolism. It becomes embodiment. You are telling the universe, and yourself, "I'm ready to make room." The truth is, we all carry things longer than we need to, not because we're broken, but because we are hopeful. We believe things might change. We believe people might come back, that situations might resolve. But holding on out of hope and holding on out of fear are two very different energies. The first is expansive. The second is heavy. You can trust that what is meant for your soul will never need to be held through tension. It will flow toward you, not away from you. There's a quiet wisdom that teaches, what you release in awareness becomes the nourishment for what's next. You are not giving something up, you are giving it back to the stream of life. And in that giving, something miraculous begins to stir. New insight. Clearer intuition. A sudden lightness in the chest that wasn't there before. It doesn't always announce itself dramatically. Sometimes it's as simple as waking up and realizing, it doesn't hurt the same way anymore. So much of healing isn't about fixing what was broken, it's about letting go of what no longer belongs to the present. And you, Taurus, are ready. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to explain your reasons. You only need to honor what your inner stillness already knows. There is something more aligned waiting for you, but it cannot enter a space already full. In the practice of deep inner clarity, we are taught that every act of release is simultaneously an act of return. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you don't lose yourself, you rediscover yourself. The light you've been searching for outside has always lived within. Now it simply needs room to shine. Sometimes the most powerful moments don't arrive with fanfare. They slip in quietly, almost shyly, like the breeze that touches your cheek after a long storm. Taurus, this is how miracles often meet souls like yours, not as lightning bolts from the sky, but as soft confirmations that something has shifted inside you. And because your journey has never been about rushing or chasing, the timing of this arrival is perfect. You've made space by releasing what no longer aligned. Now, something long awaited is gently finding its way to you. Miracles are often misunderstood. We're conditioned to expect them in grand, obvious ways, but the truth is, they happen when our awareness deepens enough to perceive them. It's less about what shows up, and more about how ready we are to recognize it. And this readiness is not something you force, it's something you become. The energy of the star and tarot beautifully reflects this stage of your journey. After a period of quiet healing, this card shines a light not on what has been lost, but on what has survived. It doesn't promise ease, but it offers hope rooted in something real, your own resilience. Think of the star as a mirror to your inner renewal. Where once there was depletion, now there is gentle radiance. Where confusion clouded your thoughts, now clarity flickers like a candle newly lit. It's subtle, yes, but undeniable. You're not just feeling better. You're becoming someone more in alignment with your truest self. And that shift, internal, organic, sacred, is the miracle itself. It may show up as a message, an unexpected connection, or a small opportunity that lands differently in your heart. But above all, it will feel like a homecoming to a part of you that had been waiting patiently for your return. Wearing the color olive green during these next few days can help you anchor this energy. This tone isn't just calming, it carries the vibration of quiet strength and open-hearted wisdom. In energetic practice, certain colors have the ability to harmonize emotional frequencies, and olive green works directly with the heart. It invites gentleness. It eases resistance. It allows your intuitive knowing to rise without pressure. Whether you wear it, meditate with it, or simply keep it close, let it be a visual reminder that your softness is your superpower, and that being open doesn't make you vulnerable, it makes you magnetic to grace. From a cosmic perspective, what's unfolding for you now isn't random. You've passed through the inward cycle, release, reflection, and repair. What follows is the natural emergence of light, not as a gift given to the deserving, but as a state that returns once the inner clouds begin to part. This cycle mirrors the natural laws of impermanence. Everything that arises, passes. Every storm fades. Every darkness is temporary, and every soul, when ready, returns to light not because it earns it, but because it remembers it was never separate from it. So if you feel something shifting, even slightly, honor that. A deep breath that feels more spacious than usual, a smile that comes without reason, a sudden sense of peace after days of heaviness, these are not small things. They are signs. They are confirmations that you're aligned with the flow once more. And in this state, you don't need to look for miracles. They will find you, because they've been waiting for you to arrive, not somewhere outside yourself, but exactly here, within the quiet grace of your own becoming. It's a quiet kind of truth that often takes us the longest to realize. What we've been seeking all along isn't outside of us. It's not the next achievement, the next relationship, or the next validation. It's the steady return to who we already are beneath the layers of fear, expectation, and survival. Taurus, after all the inner work, the letting go, the moments of doubt followed by clarity, you're not being asked to become someone new. You're being gently invited back to the version of yourself that existed before the world told you who you needed to be. This isn't a reset. It's a remembering. A reuniting with the part of you that was never broken, never disconnected, only temporarily hidden under the weight of pain or performance. When we think of rebirth, we often picture something dramatic, a phoenix rising, a bold transformation. But sometimes rebirth is subtle. Sometimes it looks like waking up and realizing you no longer fear the silence. Or recognizing that your worth isn't tied to how much you give away to be accepted. It's choosing peace not because everything is perfect, but because you've stopped abandoning yourself. There's an ancient idea that says the root of our suffering isn't in what happens to us, but in how we identify with it. When we believe we are our wounds, our losses, our perceived failures, we forget the space that exists between experience and identity. But when we pause and ask, who am I when I'm not afraid of being unloved? A door opens. That question alone softens something deep inside. It invites us to witness ourselves without armor. And in that soft space, a quiet knowing returns. You were never meant to be small just to stay safe. From an astrological perspective, your sign, ruled by Venus, holds the wisdom of beauty, value, and embodiment. This rebirth isn't just emotional, it's energetic. Your frequency is shifting. You're no longer responding to life from old wounds, but from new awareness. That changes everything. It reshapes what you attract, how you speak to yourself, what you allow, and what you gracefully decline. The moment you stop negotiating your light to fit into places that never honored it, you begin to live as your true self, not as a role, but as a presence. So now, Taurus, you're being called to live like you're already the person you've been becoming. To no longer seek proof that you are enough, but to embody it. That doesn't mean perfection. It means self-honesty. It means resting when your body asks, speaking when your truth rises, and allowing yourself to receive without guilt. Living from this space turns life from a performance into a practice. You begin to move through your days with intention, gentleness, and quiet power, not to impress, but to remain aligned. If it helps, repeat this affirmation in the stillness of your morning or before sleep. I don't have to sacrifice who I am to be loved. I am love. I am the miracle. Let the words settle into your breath, into your bones. Let them remind you that love doesn't arrive when we finally become worthy. It reveals itself when we stop hiding from our own radiance. You don't need to chase what is meant for you. You simply need to stay close to yourself, to choose you over and over until it feels natural again. And from that place, where your presence is enough, your being is whole, and your heart is open, the most extraordinary things begin to unfold, not because you reached for them, but because you finally stood still long enough for them to arrive. And now, as we come to the end of this sacred moment together, Taurus, take a breath with me, deep, slow, intentional. Let it be a soft reminder that you're still here. After everything, after the heartbreaks and breakthroughs, the silence and the storms, you are still standing. Still loving. Still becoming. That, in itself, is a miracle. And maybe, just maybe, this whole reading wasn't about predicting the future, but about helping you remember the light you've carried all along. The truth is, you're not the same person you were even a week ago. These 3 days, from April 8th to 10th, are more than dates on a calendar. They are a threshold, an invitation to live from a place of deeper self-respect, to stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never made for your full heart. You've already done the hardest part, you stayed. You faced your shadows. You allowed the healing to begin. And now, the question becomes, what will you do with the light you found? Will you speak more kindly to yourself? Will you set boundaries without apology? Will you allow joy to enter without guilt or resistance? Will you trust the quiet signs, even if the world around you doesn't yet understand? You see, true transformation isn't loud. It's a soft decision repeated each day, to show up differently, to believe again, to forgive yourself a little more. And you're ready. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. The universe doesn't waste its whispers on hearts not prepared to hear them. So if you felt something stir inside you during this time, some recognition, some clarity, some release, know that it's real. Trust that it's enough. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to begin. If anything from this message has touched you, even in the smallest way, I invite you to take a moment and comment below with a word of gratitude to yourself. Just one line, something simple like, "Thank you for staying," or "I see you now." You never know who might need to read your words today. You might be the reminder someone else was praying for. And that's how we become miracles to one another. What part of this journey resonated with you the most? Was it the moment of release? The realization of your own strength? Or the subtle knowing that you no longer need to earn love, because you are already love itself? Share it with us in the comments. Not just for me, but for the beautiful Taurus souls walking this same path with you. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. And if you haven't already, please consider liking this video, subscribing to Eternal Mindfulness, and sharing this message with someone who needs a gentle light today. Every bit of your support helps this space grow, and brings more healing to more hearts. From my soul to yours, thank you for allowing me to walk beside you for a little while. I see the strength in your softness. I feel the wisdom in your stillness. And I believe, with everything in me, that the best is not behind you, it's within you, quietly unfolding. Until next time, Taurus, stay grounded in your truth, open to your light, and always remember, you are the miracle you've been waiting for.